and we had this guy that would moan all day, bro. Moan.
Bitch, your phone ain't even on yet. You know what I mean? Bitch, you can't even call your mom and cry.
What's up, everybody? I'm Blessed and Free. Welcome back to another episode of DOC TV. So the gentleman I have on the channel today, I've known him for quite a while now. I actually did an interview on his Facebook group. We were trying to get him on the channel. He's been going through some shit, man, but he's out. He's ready to talk, man. We're going to get him on DOC TV today to share his story. For the people that don't know who you are, man, why don't you go ahead and just introduce yourself, tell them your name and where you're from.
All right. My name is Michael Ceballos. I'm from Texas. I've been filming I guess a show or a podcast or whatever you want to call it, Facebook show.
Yeah.
For a couple of years called Cell Life. And that's how I met Josh.
Sir.
Yeah.
Well, for the people, man, that don't know about your story, you did a lot of time in the Texas prison system. So why don't we kind of start at the beginning? You know, where did you grow up? You know, what was your family like? And where did you start veering off, you know, the road going down the criminal path?
Sure. You know, we're not doing any blaming here. We're just stating facts. You know,
Right.
My old man was a 40-year heroin addict, you know, so that's the kind of environment I grew up in. You know, my family really didn't like me talking about it too much, but, you know, my old man was a beast, man. You know, he was out there. And so that's the environment we grew up in. He was a stone cold alcoholic, you know, and my mother was a saint. So it was difficult to watch, you know, mom, this woman that you hold, you know, so dear, treated like, you know, like shit. So that's basically my family. My sisters, I got 3 sisters, Rachel, Carolyn, and Amanda. I have a son named Elijah, of course, nieces and nephews, and whatnot. But so my sisters were, they were kind of unaffected. I was the only boy. So dad, you know, he didn't mess with the girls too much, you know what I'm saying? As far as whatever, being mean to them or nothing. He was mean to mom and me. But to be honest with you, I don't know where my criminal activity started. I was sneaking out at 5 years old, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, going to the ditches, hunting crawdad and minnows and turtles or whatever, snakes, whatever you could do. So they would come find me out there and stuff. But so I started, you know, doing that and started stealing. Back then we had bottles, glass bottles.
Yeah. The Coke bottles.
And they were refundable. So we would, you know, I would sneak in these garages and take these bottles, you know what I'm saying? I had a wagon or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And and a lot of times you would find them. So we really go hunting. We go bottle hunting, you know what I'm saying? Because they were everywhere. So
that was kind of your beginning into the, like, you know, the criminal path right there. It starts so little too.
I guess
crazy.
so. It is. It's so subtle.
So what was your first, like, arrest that you might have been looking at a little bit of time? Like, what happened with that?
My first arrest, I believe, was in the, I think I was in I don't know, I was like 9 years old.
Shit.
I got arrested. Yeah, I got arrested for, I think I broke into the neighbor's house or something. And then at 10, I went to juvenile. At 10, I went to juvenile for stealing a golf cart. Me and another buddy and driving it through town.
I could just see that.
And long hair, stupid, you know what I'm saying?
So what was that like for you, man? You're stealing and shit and you're doing stuff like that. But when you go to juvenile, now you're in there with people that are, you know, doing other hardcore shit. So what was that experience like, especially being at 10?
Yeah, it was definitely, you know, life-changing. I mean, you had to learn how to survive, you know, in this and kids are mean, man. Kids are mean nowadays. And back then, I don't know, time back then was a little different.
Kind of a lot different.
Yeah, I really believe it was, Josh, because it was still very violent, though.
Yeah.
It was still very violent. It was very different than it is today.
Yeah, it was like more respectful and people actually knew how to do time. Now you got all these young kids that are just, they don't know how to do time right.
Sure. And you know, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe they don't need to learn how to do time. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
That's the hope.
Yeah. That's how I have to look at that particular situation.
Where was like the pivotal moment? Like you're in juvenile, you're doing shit. But when did it escalate to like, oh shit, now I'm looking at going to Texas Department of Corrections?
That was in 1986. 1986, I caught a burglary case, and I was fixing to be 17, like a week or something. So they tried me as an adult, and I think I got like 7 years, and I went to TDC. I was 17, just turned 17. And again, it was a different world, completely different from juvenile, completely different from the real world.
There's people that watch me that, you know, their son's looking at prison time, their husband maybe, you know, going to prison, or a young kid that's doing shit like you were just talking about that might be going to prison. So explain to the people, you're 17 years old and now you're walking into adult prison with dudes that have been down 20 years that aren't playing games. What is there to expect?
Well, it's definitely a you know, it's very predatory. You know, it was then. It was now. What was good about at that time, 86 in Texas, is that the Ruiz case had just gone through, and the Ruiz case changed where there were no more building tenants and turnkeys, you know, other inmates over other inmates. You know what I'm saying? Where inmates could no longer be over you. You know, another inmate couldn't like demand anything from you or you know or
rob you. Yeah.
Or rape you or kill you or whatever. These guys were notorious, bro. They were called building tenders. So the Ruiz case had taken that out in 85. They started implementing it in 85. So I got there in 86. So it was it had really just kind of chilled out for a minute. And a lot of them dudes were getting fucked off. A lot of the building tenders, because they no longer had the cover and the protection of the prison.
Yeah, they no longer had the power.
Right.
So when you went in, man, what was there gangs back then? Like what were the politics like? When did you see your first thing in prison where you were like, holy shit, this shit's real?
Yeah, that was immediately. I mean, that was the day I got there. Was when I realized that.
All right.
You know,
damn, I heard Texas is bad too.
Yeah. We went to the usually back then you would go into diagnostics, which is the bird unit. You would go in there. Everybody went through there. If you went into TDC, you went into the bird unit. Now they got different reception centers and, you know, and all this stuff. They got all kinds of stuff going on because of COVID. And, but back then you went into bird. So you saw everybody that was coming through and you stayed there for about a month and a half going through processing and stuff. So, you know, but yeah, man, you realize if you didn't realize how real it was at the beginning, you know, you were going to find out. I mean, it's, man, I'm a nonviolent dude. I really am. You know, I just don't believe in it.
Right.
I don't believe there's a reason for it. You know, navigating that world with a nonviolent attitude was difficult, you know, because everything is so confrontational and so, you know, machismo. Everybody's trying to, you know, push their weight around or be the top dog, whatever. I don't even know what it is, man. But I mean, it's another world. So it's just like this world. Everybody wants, you know, to get ahead. Everybody wants to be on top. You know, all these different things that, you know, are just, they're the same, but different.
Yeah. The little shit in prison, man, like people on the outside don't realize like the littlest shit, like a ramen noodle soup or whatever, man, or looking at somebody wrong or bumping into somebody, you know, going to,
sure.
Yeah, lining up for chow in the dorm. So the people just don't realize the levels that it goes to. And it's almost like you're walking on eggshells, not because you're scared, just because at any moment it can go from 0 to 100 and you're in there with killers, man. Shit really can get serious.
No, I'm glad you brought that up because there is no separation of inmates, you know, classification. You know, you're housed with, you know, people that you really don't know what they've done.
Yeah.
You know, and there's all of them are right there with you. You know, you don't know what state of mind they're in. Now they're housing, you know, mentally unstable people right there with you. Yeah, we had this guy that
going on for a while.
Man, we had this guy that would moan all day, bro. Moan all So
what?
They got
like walking around the dorm doing that?
Just laying in his bed, but loud. Okay. So they hogtied him. They hogtied him and put a sock in his mouth. And the guard realized that they couldn't hear him. You know what I'm saying?
You can kill somebody
came
like that,
in,
though.
bro. It was crazy, bro. But and that's so my point was is just they're housing us, incorrectly.
Right. In
This-
unsafe
this-
conditions.
As far as I'm concerned, I should be housed and other people should be housed with, according to their crime.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%, man. The Florida's the same way. They just put everybody in and mix them all together. Gangs, killers, rapists, all that shit. And I think the same way, bro. They definitely shouldn't do that, because then you get somebody going in on 2 years. Now there was somebody doing life and they got to stab him or defend themselves, and they kill somebody. Now they're getting a life sentence, they get a MIP. So, all right, when was the first time when you went in at this point? What was the most violent thing you saw in the beginning?
Really just a lot of the back then you would get clicked into the unit, basically homecoming party or whatever, you know what I'm saying? You get smashed, as soon as you got there, that day you're gonna get smashed on that day.
Is that like a TOH? Are they doing that to see where you're at? Like, why are they doing
They're
that
doing that
way?
to see where you're at.
Okay,
They're doing that to see where you're at. If you're gonna go tell, they're gonna check you right from the top. They got so much shit going on that if you're gonna be going and telling, they want you going from the get-go. They don't even want you seeing nothing. I guess man, it's crazy, man. Back then it was sometimes they would let another thongo smash you out to see if you were going to take that or, go tell on that or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It was crazy, man.
So was there gangs back then? Like, how did the politics run?
Yeah, there was, you had the Mexican mafia, you had the Texas Syndicate, you had Pistoleros, Vayuco, you had, all these different Texas gangs and prison gangs. And then there was a movement at that time as well. There was a movement not to get into a gang that went on during the late 80s. Okay. I was part of that movement. We were just called our cities,
Like home team?
Yeah. Houston. I was Houston, Fortitos, Fort Worth, or D-Town, or Dallas, Texas, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you were known for you started getting known for your tango, and then you started, your homeboys would be your tango.
And these are all people that don't want to be in a gang. So you guys all kind of just clicked up.
Yeah. Well, we didn't. First we started our own sects, our own cities. And it just kind of happened. Everybody started separating and doing their own cities real tough. Those are considered tangos. Your tango is just wherever you're from.
Oh, okay. So tango's like your city, basically.
Yeah. Or your neighborhood.
So when the other gangs saw you guys doing that, did they feel some type of way, or was that
Yeah.
riding all right? Yeah, I bet they did.
They're still feeling some type of way. You know what I'm saying?
Damn. Yeah.
And it's been years, and it changed the whole game. It turned a gang ran prison to a city, and we weren't even classified as gang members. The system didn't even classify us as gang members because we weren't,
You were just basically repping where you're from.
Yeah. And we were trying to keep people out of prison. We would encourage the guys that were fixing to go home to stay out of trouble, and we'd watch over them and, make sure they went home and shit, so they can help from the outside. Yeah,
it sounds like you were a pretty good dude in prison, man. But I know you said that you're navigating a world, where violence rules, and you're not really like, a violent person. So did that affect you? Like, how did you get through the system doing time like that? For the people that might be going, a lot of them aren't affiliated and all that. So
to be honest with you, Josh, man, I don't know how I navigated that world as good as I did, but they some of the most angriest murderous dudes are great friends of mine. And I just, I know that's a crazy thing to say.
Yeah, not really, because you're like a people person, and I'm kind of the same way, man. So easy to get along with, you know what I mean? So that keeps you away from a lot of the bullshit, because you're not on that egotistical mind trip in there. You know what I mean? So,
right. So I would do questionnaires. I would write books. I would read out loud to dudes that couldn't read, which started a great thing. I started reading to this one dude that had a stroke. Black dude, my boy. You know what I'm saying? He's a big old country boy. He was a big old country boy,
Yeah.
And but he loved classicals, and I loved classicals. So I was always reading one, So I would start reading out loud to him. And so people would start gathering at our table. And before you know it, man, we had fucking 20 dudes every day when I did the reading. They'd be around the table, you know what I'm saying? And so things like that. I would do questionnaires on if I was going to write a book, I would put together 25 questions and, have, maybe 20 dudes answer them. And, and I would come up with some numbers on statistics and how I was kind of polling them in different ways by the questions I would ask. And I would write books on it, just write a short little essay on whatever I was asking about. So I would do things like that. And I was always counseling. It seemed like,
That's crazy, man. Because most guys that go to prison, that's not how they do their time. It's kind of, you did your time. It sounds like pretty productive. And then also like helping other people. And so I commend you for that, bro. That's what's up.
Yeah. It wasn't even anything that I thought about.
You just did it, right?
I just did it because it was there and it needed to be done. No. Yeah. It wasn't anything thought out, or, when you do the right thing, that's really what's wrong with a lot of us is that we want to be rewarded for doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And, we don't need, that's not even what it's about. We're just doing what we're supposed to be doing, man.
Yeah. That's humility, bro. Humility.
Yeah. You don't get no badge for that.
Nah. Well, so you're doing all this with helping people. And I know you did a lot of time in Texas prison. So this is on your first bid and you're doing all this during your first bid? No,
not all that. That was throughout the years.
Okay.
On my first bid, I'm definitely observing and kind of studying my environment. It's something that I've written extensively about as far as studying the prison system from the inside out. I did a lot of that. I did a lot of writing on those issues. We got a documentary that's fixing to come out about it, and we're filming. We start filming with PBS sometime mid-January. We had a great interview yesterday with them, and we got a little team of and look, this is the deal. It ain't about any person or anything. It's about what can we do to help these men and women that are getting out of prison to live better lives, and stay free. And I know that's crazy coming from me because I just got out of jail.